The American Farm Bureau Federation held its 100th annual convention in New Orleans.
We got to 1919 and they looked at what they were being accomplishing in their communities with their farm bureaus and what they were accomplishing in the state house and the farm bureaus, and they said, we got to do this on the national level. And they created what we know as American Farm Bureau because they needed one united voice.
Michigan's Tera Baker finished in second place at the AFBF Young Farmer Discussion meet.
Let's discuss how we as farmers and ranchers can create business plans to address market instability, cater to consumer preferences, and innovate our products so that we may shift our industry dynamic from reactive to proactive.
For the second year in a row, President Donald Trump addressed Farm Bureau convention goers.
On this special anniversary, we gathered to celebrate America's proud farming heritage. Through your sweat, through all of your work, the strength of your hands and the faith in your hearts, the American farmer feeds and fuels and sustains our nation.
And Michigan Agricultural Commodities Chris Betts will join us with a market update. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
4 young farmers competing in 3 areas of competition all had great showings at the American Farm Bureau Federation's 2019 annual convention in New Orleans. Clinton County Farm Bureau's Teresa Sissung reached the top 10 in the Excellence in Agriculture competition, and Kent County Farm Bureau's Brian and Katie Heffron represented Michigan well in the Achievement Award contest. Berrien County Farm Bureau's Tera Baker reached the final 4 of the discussion meet, finishing second in the competition.
There's a couple of different avenues that we've talked about that farmers are looking to go. Either smaller niche type markets, being more creative and trying to diversify in their local areas, or get big. Bigger is better, go to economies of scale. So we've got a couple of different branches it looks like we're all going, and bringing in those other Farm Bureau family of companies that you've touched on is a real key to leverage, a real asset we can all leverage. And if we look at the side of bigger is better and going for economies of scale, Farm Bureau's done a really nice job in our state and nationwide of trying to use those different facets of our family, if you will, to work with farmers as they scale up. So a lot of farms are not just local anymore. They're investing outside of their counties, outside of their states.
The discussion meet has been a really unique experience for me because it gets my juices flowing about agriculture again and thinking in different ways and beyond the boundaries that I'm used to in my daily life. So that's been really fun for me because I do tend to be a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, and so that thrill of getting up there and having that competition while talking about things that are somewhat in my comfort zone, but also you never know what's going to get thrown at you, really kind of gets me reinvigorated about my ag passion.
For the second year in a row, President Donald Trump addressed Farm Bureau members during AFBF's annual convention. This time around, he discussed several hot-button issues impacting the nation's farmers and ranchers, including immigration and trade.
Many, many new markets are being opened up. We've eliminated a record number of job-killing regulations, and the farmers got hit probably as hard as anybody. We're reversing harmful federal intrusion. And to keep family farms in the family, we have virtually eliminated the estate tax, also known as the death tax.
Through its grassroots process, farmer and rancher delegates from across the country adopted policies to guide the American Farm Bureau Federation's work for the next year. Key topics included dairy policy and immigration. MFB board member Michael DeRider of Hart fought successfully to defend the organization's standing position on AFBF's immigration policy. Michigan farmers are calling on Congress to provide a federal immigration solution, and the policy provides that direction.
So the language that was proposed today, that was in the book, would not have worked real well for ag employers. So from a Michigan perspective, we stood up, we tried to strike that language so it was a more usable piece for an ag employer, because we're doing everything we can to legally hire people in the state of Michigan. We need a lot of labor, we're trying to abide by the laws, and we just don't want a lot more penalties imposed on us when we're doing everything legally that we can do within our means.
Delegates also determined policies for Farm Bill implementation, cell-cultured food products, trade, rural broadband access, and rural mental health programs.
Dairy policy was talked about today on the delegate floor. Some states were real interested in bringing a supply management option into policy, but it actually kind of got shot down a little bit just because there is a provision out there or something we'd like the board, the AFBF board, to do, and that would be to actually meet with National Milk for a dairy summit nationally and discuss all of the things that are going on with dairy and how we're going to solve some of the issues.
Planning for 2019 and beyond, Foster Swift's Ag Law team offers comprehensive legal counsel for farmers and businesses.
The AFBF has launched a new campaign to encourage farmers to stay engaged in efforts to create the new Waters of the U.S. rule. Clean Water, Clear Rules was unveiled during the annual convention and will allow farmers to support the new WOTUS proposal by filling out and mailing postcards or digitally via the AFBF website. Farm Bureau hopes to send a message to the EPA that it's time to clarify and fix the Clean Water Rule once the agency opens the new WOTUS rule for public comment. With a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betts.
Thanks, Janelle. Talks of the U.S. perhaps easing tariffs on China help reduce market volatility, help support grains late in the week. Rumors of possible Chinese purchases of U.S. corn and wheat also help spark the move. The market is still running blind on how much export business is actually being done because of the partial government shutdown. Outside money is hesitant to jump into grains because of this lack of regular data, as well as the political unknown surrounding trade. Trade negotiations are ongoing between the U.S. and China, with the two sides seemingly still at odds over intellectual property protection and the enforcement of new regulations. A drying pattern is developing in central Brazil, which is a story that will need to be monitored moving forward. The Brazilian soybean crop will not be influenced much, but the bigger impact would be on second crop corn, which usually makes up around 70% of the country's corn production. For more market information, go to michiag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.